Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Today we're going to take a look at the mega corporation known as BlackRock and ask the tarot a question about that particular entity. So let me take you to a short compilation I've got with some information, and then we'll ask the question. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because there is chatter in alt media chatter spots that BlackRock is actually now under white hat quietly. Under some white hat control. We hear that about a lot of things. Now, understand when white hats take control of a corporation or an entity, um, they don't do a complete turnaround. They don't completely change how that company or entity or person previously seemed to be operating, but there's significant changes that kind of confirm something happened here. And I wonder, and so do a lot of people in alt media chat communities, wonder if something has indeed happened with BlackRock. Let's find out. I'm going to take you to that share screen. As I said before, it's not comprehensive, but it kind of helps you see how I developed my curiosity and decided to frame a question for the tarot about this topic. Okay, so let's look at some data, then we'll look at the woo and see if we can combine the two. Okay, home production. Hang on just a second here. Hmm. Okay, now Larry Fink is the co-founder and um, CEO of BlackRock. He, in January 16th, 2018, he implemented ESG policies and pushed greedy corporations into extreme wokeism. And then many of them ended up going belly up, and we'll look a little more data for that after this screen share because of that woke agenda for people. Now, would a businessman chasing profits do this? What would the purpose be to this? Or would a guy now part of controlled demolition of the financial system be the one doing this? For controlled demolition, you need to bring down large and powerful corporations. How do you do this in a controlled manner without causing panic, while at the same time exposing the evils of woke ideology? It's the good old deep state strategy weaponized against them, Sun Tzu style. Now, this may seem random, but I went to this blog spot here, decoding symbols at wordpress.com. Lengthy examination of lots of symbology in different formats of media. And there was a section on BlackRock. And one of the things that the blogger made note of was that beginning in early 2019, BlackRock adopted children for their banners. Initially being an umbrella, see, protection was at a calm, with a child hidden behind it like a shield, and the current one for 2019 included multiple children, expanding operations. He was wondering, are they signaling that there's some expanding operations, again, of a white hat type nature? Okay, and I'll have this share screen. I'll take a screenshot of it and put it on X and have a link to it in the video description box if you'd like to read this a little closer. Then I just did a real quick review of Executive Order 13818, which talks about confiscating the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Okay, and in red, I wanted you to notice that that affects both individuals and entities. Okay, the effective date for that executive order was December 21st, 2017. Okay, remember that date because less than a month later, on January 16, 2018, BlackRock implemented some ESG policies that have severely impacted the profits of the corporations under their umbrella. I did a little digging. I'm not by no means an investigative reporter by trade. Just wanted to see what kind of hit the chatter was confirming that there was a financial hit for this ideology. Now, if you're not familiar with what ESG means, ESG stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance, which are criteria used to evaluate a company's ethical impact and sustainability practices. Okay, so ESG became a heavy, heavy topic in BlackRock in 2018, less than a month after that Executive Order 13818 went into effect. Now, I did a little sleuthing and said, okay, with the US corporations, because BlackRock has holdings all over the world, of the US holdings, because that is where Executive Order 13818 has direct control, is the American assets, and then any that land on our shores afterwards. Okay, I said, how many of those companies have struggled since that policy was implemented? And there are approximately 5,387 corporations or companies that are under the BlackRock umbrella in the United States. And of those, it's estimated anywhere between 1,616 and 2,694, which is almost half. So 35 to 50% of the companies are now struggling because the expectations for sustainability and, practices like that are so difficult to achieve that it is directly influencing profits. Why would a billionaire businessman interested in making more billions in extending his influence and increasing his wealth implement policies that were devastating financially for the companies that he has oversight of? So I'm thinking there may be something to the alt media rumor that BlackRock is now under white hat control, still doing some of their normal business practices, which aren't necessarily good for humans. But, let's see. That's what we're going with this. I'm really curious to find out. Now, one of the reasons that this curiosity is here is BlackRock was announced that with the Panama Canal, they are going to be part of a consortium that is going to be manning the port, the entry and exit port for the Panama Canal. And all of a sudden, when that was announced, President Trump has no public announcements about Panama Canal anymore. Doesn't seem to be concerned that BlackRock is going to be stepping in. And is it because BlackRock is really white hats and it's just part of the plan? Let's find out. I'm going to switch the camera. I'll work with the cards and you can see what answer we get. I would like to frame this with a yes or no element to it. That doesn't mean guarantee that we'll get a definite, hard yes, but sometimes we do. So let's see. We're going to ask, is there truth to the alt media chatter that BlackRock is indeed, as a result of some quiet legal consequencing under white hat control, plus additional insights and information the universe wants us to know? Let's find out. Okay, this will be a Kachina knife spread. You always need to tell the cards how you're going to be laying them out so they can get themselves lined up according to our loving creator of all creators' purposes. So, Kachina knife spread, asking, is there truth to the alt media rumor and suppositions that BlackRock is now quietly under white hat control, possibly as a result of some legal consequencing that started in late 2017 with Executive Order 13818, plus additional insights and information. Now, big corporations like this and three-letter agencies are not beyond using esoteric means to shield and evade look-sees like we're doing here. So I'm going to ask that we have this information free of any veiling or obscuring efforts that might have been made to it. And that if there have been, let's have the answer given to us as it would have been shared prior to any veiling or obscuring of information. You'd be surprised what you find out when you add that little nugget onto your questions, folks. I've learned things. Oh boy, have I learned things. Okay, we have a five of wands, the world. We have a six, innocent life, and then those banner changes. Innocent life with the six of swords for the recent past. Current, we have the star, 17th major arcana. I don't think we need a ace to get our yes here. We have the 10 of swords for the near future. Additional insights include the hanged man, and there's our ace anyway, ace of swords. All right, let's read what these cards are saying for us right now, and then we'll get a couple more cards for additional insights and information. Okay, now the situation with BlackRock was indicated by the Five of Wands. So yeah, there has been, they have had some struggles as a result of consequencing. Okay, Executive Order 13818 has had an impact in the quietly in the operational paradigm of BlackRock Corporation. Okay, and BlackRock is a worldwide endeavor. This struggle has actually been a benefit to the entire world, and they are a worldwide. They have holdings that are worldwide. Okay, the crimes against humanity was the cause for the consequencing, and um, as a result of that, of this quiet white hat um, infusion into them, there's a innocent life is now being protected more. That was indicated with those changing banners that BlackRock used in 2018 and 19. The star card shows up for the current, and this is my white hat, my supreme white hat card. This is the alliance card. This includes um, multinational people that are heavily, heavily, heavily invested in seeing our world go from dark to light, and to have humans have the sovereignty and the ability to achieve their potential and no longer suppress it. So that is beautiful showing up here. The star card often also indicates that it's a message of hope and optimism, and things are moving in the right direction. Near future, we have the 10 of swords. So there's going to come a time when this is more publicly known than on a small channel like myself, exploring and digging and looking into rumors. And at that time, it looks like to me BlackRock is going to be, um, how should I say it? Made smaller. Okay. Maybe broken up into smaller categories than the umbrella they're operating under now. But the time is coming when what we're finding out today will be publicly known, and BlackRock is no longer going to be the powerhouse that it currently is. After that news comes out and our world makes some changes. Now, the Hanged Man is always about looking at things in a new way, getting that aha moment. And yeah, the corporation has had to quietly shift, and no longer. Some of the big things have happened that have been involved with protecting innocent human life has been a priority. So maybe BlackRock did seem to still keep snapping up small homes at above market value for a while. I haven't heard of that lately, but that was just them being allowed to still have the perception that they had not had an overt change to how they did their business. The Ace of Swords was our absolute hard yes for the question. Love that. It's a victory, success, breakthrough type of thing. So we're getting a definite hard yes. The BlackRock, we don't need to be worried about their involvement in the Panama Canal as not being good for American interests. Absolutely. I had some people say, hey, don't worry about it. They're white hat now. We've got that confirmation today. A couple of more cards. Okay, we have the Four of Pentacles, and this is about being careful with your resources, which, and maybe there's a need for it because, again, many of the BlackRock companies, almost half of them, have struggled financially since those ESG criteria were implemented for the companies under their umbrella. And again, getting a BlackRock's going to be going away, guys. It's not going to be what it seems to be now in the near future. I'm not going to say that I have any particular intuitive insights about what that change is going to be, but when you have the Ten of Swords showing up with the Moon card, I wouldn't be buying BlackRock stock. I'll just say that. They're going to have some big changes, but they're going to be good for people, even if they're not good for corporations. So never fear unless you've got some of that stock and you might want to give that some thought. Okay. And I am not a financial advisor. I am just speaking off the cuff here, okay? I mean, I'm speaking a truth, but it's my personal truth and it's not based on financial knowledge, information, or instruction. So let's recap. There is a persistent rumor in the alt media community that the mega corporation known as BlackRock is actually now under white hat, quietly under white hat control. And I wanted to take a look at that. I did a little sharing of information, again, with the qualifier that I'm not an investigative journalist. So when I threw out a number, it was to the best of my knowledge. And one of those numbers I threw out was the fact that the companies that are held within the United States by BlackRock number 5,387. That's approximate. It may not be exact. And then there is a best guess scenario that since the ESG sustainability type of criteria were placed on those companies in 2018, anywhere from 30 to 50% of them are majorly struggling financially now and have had a drop in stock share prices as a result of those, probably as a result of those implementation. Well, what would you do? Why would you put it's such difficult standards to achieve and maintain that directly affect profits? Why would you do that? Well, maybe if it's a Sun Tzu type of move, you would do that to use some of the strategies that formerly had been used by the deep state against them, some of their own strategies against them, is the thought. We asked the universe about that. Okay, has there been, as a result of the implementation in 2017, less than a month before the ESG criteria started with BlackRock, Executive Order 13818 went into effect. And we said, hey, is that part of the reason? Is that a factor in those policies that have been implemented, the struggling companies under that umbrella now? And the fact that President Trump doesn't seem to be at all concerned that BlackRock is going to be part of a consortium that is going to be very, very active in the Panama Canal, running the ports of entry and exit for the canal. Moving forward, all of a sudden he's not talking about taking back the canal or anything, isn't he? So it seemed to me like there's probably some white hat involvement going on here. Well, sure enough, when we asked the universe, we got a hard yes about that. Absolutely did. And that, yeah, the white hats, the alliance, definitely part of these changes. They are involved right now with those changes we're seeing. Now, again, I've noticed companies that I am almost sure, or individuals that I'm almost sure have been consequenced as a result of that executive order, that still seem to move about in public and do their public things without a lot of change. But sometimes there are significant differences in behavior, decisions, public policy statements, things like that, that hint that they're not quite on, they're on a leash. They're on a leash and they don't have a lot of latitude on that leash. So they only seem to be to some extent what they used to be, which is good. Okay, looking forward, it does not look like BlackRock as the corporation we now, the mega corporation we now know, is in for good times and jollies. Okay, they have some in the near future. It's not looking great for them. I thought maybe possibly being split up into smaller companies or something like that as a result of this consequencing or changes that are coming. But that's down the road. That's down the road definitely. But we got a definite yes on this. So it does look like some of the things that made me curious. There was a little dot connecting that did go in there. So we looked at some data and then we looked at the woo. And as usual, found a few dots that connected the two. And yes, I know that rhymes. I just like it. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for watching and putting up with me in my home productions and following these rabbit trails of curiosity that I follow. I appreciate that very, very much. Until next time, if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light, and I wish you everything bright. Bye.